There are many factors contributing to hip pain. One of the most common denominators of those is your glute strength. So we're going to activate into our glutes today, as well as our hip flexors, all the way around the hip joint to secure the joint, and then we are going to stretch through the whole joint as well. So our pre-assessment is pigeon. So when you come into your pigeon pose, it needs to be at a 90 degree angle at the knee and a 90 degree angle at the hip as well. So you want to try and make sure that your hips are facing forward. So place the hands on the hip bones and make sure the hands are facing forwards here. And then dropping down a little bit lower to try and get the hips in the right position here. There's a lot of things that can be limiting your pigeon pose, but after the class, you'll feel like you can get a little bit deeper into this position. Now switch sides. And remember, 90 degree angle at the knee, 90 degree angle at the hip, and then dropping the hips down low, making sure the hips are facing straight and the foot is turned in and not all the way out. Must be closer to the midline here. And then dropping the hips down towards the floor. Now we can come into our class. Start by lying on your back and then taking the legs in to a dead bug position. Place the hands onto the legs or the knees and then push the knees into the hands, just like we did in the low back class. So really pushing the knees into the hands to activate into the hip flexors. 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now raise the hands up into a dead bug position and get the hip flexors active in the movement. Bringing the knee all the way to the elbow and keeping your core nice and active here. Five more. 2, and 1. Hug the knees all the way into the chest and then place the feet onto the floor. Keep your core engaged and come up into a glute bridge. I don't want you tucking in your tailbone too much or not tucking your tailbone into at all. So find that neutral position in your pelvis. Keep the core engaged and then raise the hips up and down. Just going for 10 here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And single leg glute bridges are the best way to really activate into the glutes. So hug the right knee all the way into the chest and then push into the left heel to lift the hip up and down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch sides, placing the right foot down and bringing the left knee into the chest and lifting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Bringing it all the way back down and then lying on your side to get the side of the hips active. Come down onto your elbow. Have the knees directly on top of each other, the hips directly on top of each other too. And you're going to raise the top leg as you lift your body off of the floor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then place the left foot down onto the ground and you're going to raise up onto your hand and then bring your knee directly underneath your hips. This is now to get the adductors a little bit active. So lifting the bottom knee off of the floor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Switch sides. Coming down onto the elbow. Having the knees directly on top of each other, the hips on each other, and then lifting up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Coming up onto the hand, taking the right leg out, and then getting the adductors active. So knee directly underneath the hip, and lift the knee. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now that we've done with the activations, we can go into the mobility. So we're starting on your bum, having the legs open, and we're going to go into 90-90 cars. So in this stretch, you really want to keep your sit bones down on the ground and then move slowly from side to side. It's not about lifting the hips off of the floor to get the knee down. It's more about pushing the sit bones into the ground and then moving as far as you can go. And then go from side to side here. Five more. 4, 3, 2, and 1. When you get into this deepest position, I want you to hold it there and then take the opposite leg and put it onto the side of the knee. Try and drop down without your sit bones coming off of the floor. Trying to get a deep stretch here. And then switch. Go deep into the stretch and then take the opposite leg and push the knee down towards the floor. Keep holding and pushing it there, getting deeper. And always noticing side to side differences in each of the stretches. Bring your feet together into an adductor stretch, just trying to get the knees down towards the ground, just doing a butterfly stretch here. It may be quite difficult for you, so if your knees are quite close to your elbows, try and lift through the chest and then push the knees away from you. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Coming into your pigeon pose, bringing the left leg forward, right leg behind you, and dropping the hips down towards the floor here. Just trying to sink your body down, but lifting your chest up. Keep going here. And then I want you to slowly come back onto that glute and then move this leg all the way around and over the top of the leg, making sure the ankle bone is off of the side of the leg and the foot is flexed, and then push down to try and get a little bit deeper into the stretch. Getting the knee down towards the floor is the aim, and then eventually when the knee is down, you can try and move your body all the way flat, getting deeper into the hips here. 3, 2, and 1. Now you're going to pull your ankles towards your hips, and your knees are going to go directly facing in front of you. Your ankles are in the same line, and then your sit bones are both on the mat there. And now from here, we're just moving forward with our chest to try and get a little bit deeper through the glutes here. Keep moving, forward and back. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold it in this deep position. Feel the deep stretch around the hips here. Good. And then slowly come back up and take the right leg down onto the ground and come into your pigeon pose. So trying to get the hips down towards the floor. Keep reaching the hips down. Hips are facing forwards. Trying to get a little bit deeper into the stretch here. Always moving or bouncing in the stretches just to get a little bit more mobility. And then come down onto the right glute and take the left leg all the way over the knee so the ankle bone is off of the thigh. Flex the foot and then push the knee down to the floor, keeping your sit bones down on the ground as you do this. 5 more. This is a deep one. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now bring the ankles to the hips and the knees are directly on top of each other and sit bones are both on the ground. From here, pushing forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep the sit bones down. 6. Both ankles are on the floor. 2 more. Last one, and hold it in this deep position, stretching through the glutes here and feeling the difference from side to side as we did. And then slowly come back up and come into half kneeling. Taking the right leg forward and the left leg behind, tucking in your tailbone as much as you can and just pushing the hips forward and back. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Keep that squeeze of the glute and see if you can raise the back leg to bring the foot to the hand and get that deep stretch through the front of the leg. Keep tucking in your tailbone as much as you can. So if you lost it, then maybe just take it back again. Get the squeeze of the glute and push forward. But if you have it, then tuck in and go in for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. If you want to go further, take the hand behind you, the right hand and left hand goes up into the air, and you're reaching to the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Slowly let go of that left leg. Bring the right leg behind, left leg forward, and tuck in the tailbone. Come forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. If you can, bring the foot all the way to the hand and then tuck in and squeeze the glute as you go forward and back. 1, 2, keep the tuck. 3, 4, and 5. If you can take the hand behind you and then reach the right hand overhead and go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then slowly come down and then come into adducting stretches. So we're going to take the hands down onto the floor and then take the left leg out. Make sure your feet are facing forwards and not out to the side, and the outside of the foot is facing on the ground there. And then in this position, I want you just to shift the hips backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Raise back up. Place the hand onto the hip crease and shift over, pushing your hand into the hip crease to get a deeper stretch through the adductor or even into the tendon there. 2 more. And last one. And switch sides. So taking the right leg out, hands to the floor, tuck the back toes, tilt the tailbone to the sky, and reach the bum back. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Come up, place the hand into the hip crease, and shift. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then come down onto the knees and take the right leg out in front of you. Now, you're going to have your hands onto the inside of the hip crease here, pushing the hip down as you lean forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. See if you can take your hands down to the floor. If not, bend into the knee, but keep the toes lifted to the sky. And then in this position, just walking the hands forward if you can, and then back again. If you can have the knee straight, that's even better. Getting that deep stretch all the way through the glute, lower back, hamstring to open up into the hips there. 2 more. Reaching, coming back. Last one. And then switch sides, taking that left leg forward, placing the hands onto the hip crease and pushing the hip bone down and away from you. Doing a hinge motion as you do this. 3 more. 2, and 1. Place the hands down onto the floor if you can. If you need to bend the knee, that's okay. And then you want to try and reach the hands forward and back here. 2, 3, 4, toes to the sky, and 5. And then come back onto the mat, bringing the left leg forward and testing our post assessment. So just trying to get a little bit deeper into the stretch and see the difference that it's made by opening up all the way around the joint instead of just doing a few stretches to try and mobilize the hip joint. And then switch to the other side to see the side-to-side differences. Really trying to get the hips low. Hips are facing forward, 90-degree angle, don't cheat there. And then come back into a seated position. Well done for doing the hip mobility class. It's a lot to get through in a short amount of time, but I hope you managed.